Macon County, Alabama. The year is 1932. The Great Depression is in full swing, and for African American sharecroppers struggling to make ends meet, life is unimaginably hard. When government doctors arrived offering free treatment for a mysterious condition called bad blood, families saw it was a blessing. Thank you for helping me with my bad blood. One of those women was Eunice Rivers, a nurse deeply trusted by the community. She served as the bridge between the men and the government doctors, but even she didn't fully understand the deception. For 40 years, these men were lied to, exploited, and destroyed, their trust weaponized against them. This story is the story of the Tuskegee syphilis study, a nightmare masquerading as care. And today, now more than ever, we need to take a look back and learn from this story before it happens to you, before it happens to me again and again and again, as it's just happened again. Let's get into it. In 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service began the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male. The name carried authority, but its purpose was sinister: to observe the natural progression of syphilis in black men without providing them any treatment or even the notion of treatment, because we already know that even the treatment that they thought was treatment wasn't really treatment. But I digress. Doctors targeted 600 African American men from Macon County. 399 already were infected with syphilis and 201 weren't. They offered free rides, hot meals. Imagine that. You don't see anybody, no government officials, no doctors, no white people are coming to deal with you, and all of a sudden, the white savior has come into your community. They're offering to give you the best health care, just like old Master did. Just like old Master. And they come and they tell you that, boy, you got bad blood, boy, but we got something for you. Just give me that old arm there, boy. We got something for you. Minor medical care and burial insurance, because nothing says you are loved, cherished, and respected like burial insurance. Fannie Mitchell lost her husband, Gary, in 1966, a man she remembers as a hardworking and devoted father. Gary, one of the 600 men in the Tuskegee study, was a sharecropper who stood on his own 2 feet and did everything he could to provide for his family. Unbeknownst to him, the government doctors who claimed to be helping were instead using him as a test subject, withholding their treatment for the disease that ultimately took his life. Fannie recalls the impact of his illness and death. He said, quote, "He was tall, slim, hardworking, but he couldn't get one job he wanted because of what the disease had done to him." She described how Gary's condition deteriorated, leaving her family devastated. What made this atrocity possible wasn't brute force. It wasn't psychological manipulation. Doctors wore lab coats, a symbol of authority. They offered kindness and care, a facade of trust. These were behavioral triggers that hijacked their rational thinking. Chase Hughes calls these behavioral loopholes. The men complied because they believed the authority figure knew best. Their trust became the cage in which they were trapped. George Key was born in 1907 in rural Macon County, Alabama, found himself in the crosshairs of the Tuskegee study during the prime of his youth. Recruited along with his brothers, George recalled being taken to the health department for a blood test and later told he had, quote, bad blood. What he didn't know was that he had been enrolled in a government experiment that would follow him for decades. He said, quote, "They checked me, told me what was wrong, but didn't do nothing for me." At one point, he endured a spinal tap, a painful and invasive procedure that researchers described as, quote, necessary treatment. In reality, it was neither necessary nor a treatment. It was a data collection tool to study the progression of untreated syphilis. He said, quote, "I stayed in bed for weeks after that." He said, reflecting on the trauma inflicted in the name of science. When George relocated to California and later to Massachusetts, The government tracked him down, ensuring he didn't receive penicillin or other treatments. They still kept in contact with me, he said. A white man would come up to see me about once a year. So this was a conspiracy. They tracked the movements of everybody in the study. If they got a new doctor in a new place, let the healthcare practitioners know in the new location to not do things. If they joined the military, they would let the doctors know, wink, wink, they're a part of this experiment. And in many cases, they wanted them to not join the military. They tried to keep them from joining the military. Before we go deeper, let's address something critical to your health. If you're tired of chronic fatigue, sinus issues, or the lies of modern medicine, let me introduce you to the Mucus-free Life Membership Program. This isn't another fad. It's a proven system rooted in the principles of the mucus diet healing system, a system that has transformed my life and the lives of thousands of others, from debilitating illness to vitality and freedom. I've walked the path, and now I'm here to help guide you. Inside the program, you're gonna get access to me. We got coaching sessions, we got accountability sessions, we got exclusive tools and articles and videos, recipe archives that's not available anywhere else, only available to members, as well as probably the most important thing is a powerful community that is ready to support you and actually cares about your success. If you're serious about reclaiming your health, join us. Don't wait for the system to save you. Some white man in a lab coat is not going to save you. You are going to save you. We are going to save us. Join the Mucus-free Life membership. You'll be glad that you did. As part of the experiment, treatments were withheld, even as the men suffered horrifying symptoms. Some received placebo injections or aspirin disguised as medicine. Others, like Freddie Lee Tyson, underwent painful spinal taps under the guise of special treatment. In the 1940s, penicillin was all the rage. They thought that this was the cure for syphilis. But the men of Tuskegee were deliberately denied even that. Instead, doctors continued to monitor their decline, documenting organ failure, blindness, and insanity caused by untreated syphilis. Their families suffered too. Wives contracted the disease and children were born with congenital syphilis, resulting in blindness and other disabilities. This wasn't science. This was exploitation from a long line and tradition of exploitation. The Tuskegee experiment wasn't an isolated incident. It was the product of centuries of racist pseudoscience. Doctors falsely claimed that black people were biologically inferior and intellectually inferior, ruled by primitive instincts. These beliefs fueled experiments on enslaved Africans and justified unethical surgery, like those performed by J. Merriam Sims. I'm gonna talk about him another day. The Tuskegee experiment tested unfounded theories about how syphilis affected black bodies differently, reflecting a larger system of dehumanization. In 1972, after 40 years of deception, the truth was exposed. Peter Buxton, a public health service employee, leaked the story. National outrage followed, and the study was shut down. But by then, the damage had been done. 128 men had died from syphilis or related complications. Families were left to bear the burden of this betrayal. In 1997, President Bill Clinton issued a formal apology. Well, thank you, boss. I appreciate it. Master Clinton, you such a nice master. But no apology can erase the generational trauma or rebuild the trust. Tuskegee experiment is a reminder. The systems we trust to heal us can only harm us. Arnold Ehret wrote that the use of drugs alone produces the characteristic symptoms of syphilis. He understood that healing isn't found in chemicals, but in eliminating the obstructions that poison our body. Today, the same systems that betrayed Tuskegee tells us to trust their pills, their and treatments. But we must ask, are these solutions truly for our health, or are they for profit? History is not just a lesson, it's a weapon. And the Tuskegee experiment is a weapon we must wield to protect ourselves. afford to trust blindly, not in a system that profits from our pain. Whether it's unnecessary surgeries, forced sterilization, or the endless pharmaceutical treadmill, the lesson of Tuskegee is clear. Protect yourself, educate yourself, build community. As Arnold Ehret taught, the root of human disease is obstruction, aka constipation, a clogging up of the entire pipe system of the human body with mucus, toxemias, and waste that poison the body, that create premature aging, that are the foundation of the illness, not some germ that you go to your doctor and, oh, doctor, I don't feel good. What happened? And doctor says, well, you have a germ infestation. Really, doctor? What should I do, doctor? Well, hold out your arms. We got something for you real good here. This is not medical advice, by the way, but we got something real good for you. Thank you for your help, doctor. It's my privilege and my pleasure. Give me that arm. We'll have to do the video about the doctor that killed hundreds of his patients for fun, and the nurse that killed hundreds of his patients for fun. We'll talk about that another day. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Not only do they not care about us, they don't even know how to help us if they wanted to. That's the problem. They don't understand that pus and mucus forming foods is the foundation of human illness. If we could go back in time, we could go down there to Alabama. We could go down to poor people all across the country and give them this information and say, eat your greens, pick the fruit, the apples off the tree, get the greens, get the tomatoes, get the vegetables, and here's all the technology you need. What if those doctors, with all their authority and their outfit, what if they went down there and they were handing out enema bags and lemons to the people, saying, this is gonna help you feel better. Eat these fruits, eat these vegetables, do some lemon enemas. This is the secret sauce right here. Fast every once in a while. And while you're fasting, do yourself a lemon juice enema. With the authority, that authority figure, most of you, including me, I was a child and I was when I was a baby. In my arm, I got the chicken embryos, the human fetus embryos, and all of the other garbage. And it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. All of those drugs, tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars of drugs that I took from being born until I learned about the mucus diet healing system, all of it gone. No medicine for the past 22 years. I used to have ear infections all the time. Not one ear infection in the past 22 years. Who are you gonna believe? The psychopath in a doctor's coat? And like we say, everything within reason. If there's an emergency situation, you do what you need to do to survive. But see, where we need to put our mind is putting our community together. Our community where we have our own emergency services. We have our own emergency rooms, our own hospitals that are gonna be nothing like these sadistic, insane hospitals. We're gonna have something that's rational, something that actually helps put people back together, helps give people the kind of support that they need to clean their body out, because that's real healing. These hospitals they don't care about healing. The only thing they can halfway do right is they can stabilize you, get you stable. But after that, it's time to go. So if you want to plug into a movement that is all about clean blood, well, we are all about transforming everybody's blood to clean blood, to transformational blood, to blood that will take humanity generations and generations and generations into the future. Homo sapiens are hanging on by a thread. Don't let anybody tell you how advanced we are, how intelligent we are. We are but a degenerated version of what we could potentially be, what we're supposed to be, because we got lost. We got lost on the pus and mucus freeway, on the highway to pus hell. But now we know something. Now we have an opportunity. I don't blame the ancestors. I try to stand on the shoulders of the ancestors. I love the ancestors because they got us here. But you don't claim to love the ancestors and then stuff your body with dead pork guts and brains and eggs and so-called soul food, slave food. That's not how you give reverence and love to your ancestors. You pursue physiological liberation. That's about love. Now we're talking about love. People use that word all the time. I love you. Oh, I have so much love in my heart. I just love. I love. How much do you really love? Do you love yourself enough to clean out your booty hole of the disease-causing stank that will take you out, that is at the foundation of the illnesses? Do you love yourself enough to do that? Do you love yourself enough to do that when everybody in your life tells you that you're weird and you're stupid and you need to get help? All of a sudden people become dietary gurus when you let them know that you're no longer eating dead animal flesh. You no longer eat parasite-ridden, worm-infested beef and chicken. Do you love yourself enough to persevere through that? To keep your eye on the prize, grab the torch of everlasting flame and take humanity to the next level? Do you love yourself enough? Do you love your family enough? Do you love humanity enough or you just shucking and jiving. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this type of video, if you like our little mini documentaries where we explore some of the most insane situations from history to make that connection to the present, and I didn't even have to really talk too much about what's just happened over the past few years, I think you can make the connection. If you like this kind of thing, make sure to give this video a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. But we plan on doing more of these videos of this kind of style, going through some of these really interesting pieces of history that I think should be common knowledge. I think everybody should know this stuff. There's a lot more people that know about the Tuskegee experiment than they know about some of these other topics that we're going to get into. But of course, this wasn't a deep dive. We're just giving you a little intro to things that you should know about. Everybody should know about what they did. It wasn't just like some rogue experimenters, mad scientists for a few years. We're talking 40 years of a diabolical, psychopathic experiment. But that's only the one that got prominent. There's many, many others. We're going to explore some of those on this channel. Again, I thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, if you like this, if you want to keep the vibe going, we got some other videos for you right here. Check this out, and I will see you over there. Peace, love, and breath.